Says he, whistling to himself. I guess we should be making a few comments like stand by here so that people don't get the idea when they dial in that they've somehow made a mistake, eh? Okay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Saturdays with Tara Hangout on Air. I'm Mary Beth, and you're at the Law of Attraction Club on the web at theloaclub.com. On Saturdays, we do these hangouts as an introduction to our theme for the week. And these are our member calls. About once a month or so, we have these calls available to our free guest membership level. There's a link on your screen that will get you to our subscription page if you'd like to get invites to these calls. Usually Robin channels for us on Saturdays. I do Tuesday and Rachel does Thursday. Sometimes all three of us channel together, and that's a lot of fun for us and for Tara and for everyone on the call. For those of you watching the recorded video, we'll be adding pop-up links with more information about us and how you can access the complete audio of the extended call with questions and answers. So, once again, we welcome you and we welcome Robin and Tara. Over to you.
Welcome to our week of discussion on this topic of feeling good. For many years after he began intersecting with us, this one had no idea what we meant by nothing is more important than that you feel good. He's beginning to get it. Some of you are beginning to get it. This week we're going to see if we can move you from beginning to get it to really getting it. We want you to step out into life and be who you came here to be in a new and powerful way. Life was meant to be a joyous adventure. Let's talk about having fun. We'll do three things. As we usually do, we'll start from the cosmic view, the fundamental truth of who you are, because we want you to recognize and acknowledge the power you have. Then we'll talk about what your feelings are and why they're important, because we want you to see that simply feeling good is the main tent and everything else is just a sideshow. Then we'll talk about some law of attraction techniques, ways in which you can simply choose to feel good no matter what your circumstances are. Let's begin here. You are at your essence a non-physical entity that thinks and creates this world of yours into beingness. You are the consciousness that has dreamed up and continues to dream up the particular and unique version of this physical game you are playing. And the you that is doing this is just one part of a bigger you that simultaneously thinks and creates in many worlds and many galaxies. And that bigger you is a part of the collective consciousness of all that is. You're an always connected part of the source of everything. So, how did you dream up this physical game? You made choices about what you want. Let's call them belief choices. You made belief choices about why you're here and what's important to you. You made belief choices about everything in your experience. Your story is constructed entirely from those choices. It's the story about the physical you and the non-physical you. And it's the story about the matching version of the worlds that wrap themselves around you. And by the way, there are no right or wrong stories. There is just your story, here and now. Your story may be that it's just a physical world, and that's it. Your story may be about finding your true life purpose and fulfilling that destiny. Your story may be that you are here to serve God or here to serve others. Your story may be about worthiness and inheriting eternal life. Your story may be about learning and moving to higher levels of consciousness. Your story may be about karma and the influence of past lives. Your story may be about astrology and the alignment of the planets. Let's take astrology as an example. For most of his life, this one thought of astrology as nonsense. As he has learned more of the fundamental nature of everything, he now understands it is simply a belief choice and no more right or wrong than his own. His story, perhaps also like many of yours, includes things like time and space and gravity and around planet Earth in a Milky Way galaxy in a huge cosmos. None of these belief choices are absolute. All of them are optional. His world may be similar to your world in many respects, but each of you has your own version of everything. These are your sideshows, magnificent sideshows, of course, incredibly detailed and engaging sideshows, but sideshows nonetheless. We are not, through any of this, encouraging you to disengage from that story. Quite the opposite. We are encouraging you to engage in it, whatever it is, but in the way you originally intended, by keeping everything in perspective. As you intersect with others, you are interacting with them within the boundaries you have set. You mix it up and you have experiences, some wanted, some unwanted. New desires are born, new choices are made, and your world reversions itself around you. This is the fun of it. This is how you create in all of your stories. And it's why it doesn't matter what story you have chosen. We want you at all times to remember there is no part of any game that confines you with limited options. You came here to experience the joy of creating in this different context, but your stories are not absolute. You can pick a new sideshow. And as you discover parts of your story are fencing you in, and there will be parts like that, your ever-present and infallible emotional guidance system kicks in. And guess what? You don't feel good. This is your starting point. Your story is your context, but now we are entering the main tent. Now we come to the point of it all. Being in this context of yours, which is an illusion, and having experiences, which are real. Your experiences give birth to new desires. New desires point you towards new creative opportunities and new experiences. And so the story goes on, ever changing and ever expanding. So let's now talk about these things we call feelings and what they are telling you. From Abraham this week came these words: your emotions are your indicator of how your active thought blends or doesn't blend with the thought sources thinking about the same subject in the same moment. So when you feel good, you're aligned with who you are at your essence. Again from Abraham. Many believe that source is outside of them and that you are separate from source and being tested in some way. But only you can cause the feeling of separation from source. That is what all negative emotion is. So feeling bad is no more and no less than misalignment with who you are. In other words, if you're heading in the direction of creating what you want in your experience, your heart sings. You're in the range from peace and pleasure to ecstasy. And any work you are doing to achieve this will feel effortless. But if you are heading away from what you want, if you are creating negatively, your feelings will match. From unease down to fear or anger to utter despair, you are struggling. As Bashar describes it, all pain is resistance to the natural self. Remember where we started here. Creating new things is what you came here to do. So do you begin to see why how you feel is so important? If the absolute core reason you came here was to experience the joy of creating what you want, and you are heading in the opposite direction, nothing can be more important than changing course. There's nothing about your story that's more important than feeling good. There are no shoulds, no have-tos, no must-dos on earth or anywhere that can possibly take priority over simply turning and heading in the direction of what you want. Do you begin to see why how you feel is so important? If the absolute core reason you came here was to experience the joy of creating what you want, and you are heading in the opposite direction, nothing can be more important than changing course. There's nothing more important than feeling good. There are no shoulds, no have-tos, no must-dos on earth or anywhere that can possibly take priority over simply turning and heading in the direction of what you want. Consider this question posed by Bentinho Massaro. If you could either have $20 million coming in for the rest of your life, no matter how much you spend, you always have 20 million in your bank account, or you always feel good which one would it be? If you really prioritize how you feel, your focus starts to shift naturally, automatically, from the physical to the non-physical, from the what is to the future present. And then very effortlessly, you start to generate all those things you always desired, but resisted by having such an intense grasp on the physical. When you think about that question, the answer becomes obvious. But it's a great question because it brings you to that obvious place. There are those among you who say that your feelings cannot be the main intent. It's too superficial, too trivial, and that there has to be some more lofty or divine purpose for all of this. Well, we would take you back to who you are. At your heart, you are a creator and a joy seeker. And there is fundamentally no entity here or anywhere that has made decisions about what you should or should not do, or wants anything from you other than to see you rejoicing in this game you are creating. If you can feel how amazing this power is that you have, you will know that it does not come any more lofty or divine than that. There are those of you who think we're being over-focused on how you feel. It's too self-centered. Well, let us assure you that there is no one shared world. This world of yours is the movie of your life, and you are the writer of the screenplay, the director, and the leading actor all rolled into one. The particular versions of those other actors who are showing up in your scenes are faithfully following your screenplay and your direction. Of course, different versions of you are likewise showing up in their movies. But in this one, you are calling the shots. By definition, this one is all centered around you. Then there are those that say we are promoting selfishness. Well, once again, that is a one-world concept. And even in that context, selfishness implies lack, that you are taking for yourself and thereby denying others. And since there's no limit to what each of you can manifest, there can be no lack. Further, what someone else does or doesn't manifest has nothing to do with you. They get what they attract, and you have zero control over that. When you truly get who you are, you know that things like selfishness and blame and victimhood, these are all totally invalid concepts. What we are promoting is the idea that your story is not a fixture. While we encourage you to cherish, nourish, appreciate, and anticipate the good parts, we suggest also that you open up to the idea that you can rewrite the not so good parts. How do you know when you're heading into those not so good parts? It's simple. It doesn't feel good. Pay attention to those feelings. Don't settle for less than what you want. Find processes that work for you, that help you focus on what you want, and use them until they become a habit, until they are simply a part of who you are. We're also promoting the idea that the way you react to your circumstances is a choice. Some of you are inclined to say things like, well, if my circumstances were better, I'd feel better. Then feeling bad, you struggle to improve your circumstances. We love Bashard's words on this. Waiting for circumstances to change so you can feel good is like looking in a mirror waiting for your reflection to smile first. In our longer discussion, we'll tell some stories, and we'll talk some more about the steps you can take to choose that better feeling thought. But in summary, here are those steps. 1. Always, ongoingly, be aware of how you feel. 2. If you're feeling bad, own it. Say to yourself, I'm feeling bad, and welcome it as guidance. 3. Now in your mind, go to the place of knowing who you are, as we've just been describing, and acknowledge to yourself that by choosing to feel bad, you're creating more of what you don't want. Staying in that place is sort of like self-indulgence. 4. Choose a better feeling thought. 5. Choose a better feeling thought, etc., etc. Because you see, nothing is more important than that you feel good. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Be easy about everything. Come at life as if it's truly the game that it is. Relax more, appreciate more, laugh more. Make feeling good your life's purpose. No matter what story you choose, you can always choose another one. Be less mesmerized by any particular story and more aware of how you feel about it. Pivot away from negative thoughts and imagine what you want into beingness. We love Bashard's words on this. Waiting for circumstances to change so you can feel good is like looking in the mirror waiting for your reflection to smile first. If you've dug a hole for yourself, stop digging. Set your intentions once more on feeling good. Feeling good is more than just a good idea. It defines the quality of every part of the life you're living, and it will define the ease with which you transition at the end of it. The main intent has never been that physical stuff you manifest, nor even the non-physical stuff you're making up. The main intent is you, with your hands in the clay of all that is, creating your next masterpiece.
If you've been live with us on this Hangout, we'll keep talking now on our conference line. You're welcome to join us. Bring your questions and comments. Use the number on your screen. If you're watching the recorded video, click the pop-up links on your screen for more information about us and the audio of our full call.